Cowboy fans, how we doing out there? Everybody all right? Thanks for being here. What a great crowd to have here today when we kind of put this thing together just in the last week. So I think it's official that they tell you to get the flu vaccine, but we've got a February outbreak of Cowboy football fever right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So Big 12 champions, let me hear you. Fiesta Bowl champions, let me hear you. We've got a lot to be excited about. I know the coaches are relieved. A lot of them are back in the back and enjoying some good food. This is always a day that they look forward to because they get these signatures on the dotted line and they can relax for just a minute, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But we're proud of them. Let's give all of our coaches a round of applause for all of their efforts. You know, it's a day that we all get excited about, but you really don't know the benefits and the fruits of the labor for 2 or 3 years, sometimes even 4 years. Let's keep in mind, I like what Gavin Lang tweeted out a little bit ago. Brandon Whedon, Justin Blackman, Levy Adcock, and Jamie Blatnick combined for 5 stars. So, you know, we can also see some difference makers that aren't your 4 stars, your 3 stars, but we're excited about this class and we're excited to get these guys in here and let Rob Glass and his team work their magic in the weight room as well. So I've got, it's not Vanna White because there's 3 of them, so the Price is Right girls here. Come up, we're going to give away some prizes. Thank you to all of you who chipped in to have a chance to win these prizes. There's one all wrinkled up, I liked it. All right, and it's a bag, it's got all kinds of goodies in it. I think a car flag and some different things, so 862-708. 2708. Come on down. If you're not sure, ask the person next to you. Barbara, all right. Kent had to tell her. All right. Congratulations, Barbara. All right, next up, another bag of goodies here. All kinds of OSU memorabilia. All right, 2716. 2716. Anyone? You got to get excited. You can't just keep looking at the all right, congratulations. All right. All right, congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Personalized Fiesta Bowl football.
All right, this is a personalized Fiesta Bowl football. This is a pretty good one here, and you'll get it here sometime down the road, but Coach Gundy will get it signed for you. 2760. 2760. I'm hoping this side of the room wins something. I can tell they're getting angry. All right. Okay. It's not signed, excuse me. It's personalized with your name on it. Excuse me. You can probably track him down. He lives right here in town. All right. And this is a personalized Bedlam ball.
Yes. Bedlam
champions. Was that a good night in Stillwater or what? Maybe the greatest night ever in Stillwater. 2872. 2872. All right, finally, someone from this side of the room. Congratulations. Thanks to all of you for being here today. And I know you want to see these new Cowboys. So what we want to do right now is roll our 2012 Cowboy signing showcase video. So enjoy.
For all the Cowboys out there. Heroes have always been cowboys. I'm a cowboy on a steel tie ride, wanted, dead or alive, wanted. Some people call me the space cowboy. I wanna be a cowboy. I should have been a cowboy. Take a space ride with the cowboy back. How's what you gonna do with a cowboy? 'Cause I wanna be a cowboy, baby. Yeah, cowboy, baby. They call me cowboy, I'm a singer in black. They call me cowboy, I'm a singer in black. bet you never heard old Marshall Dillon say, Miss Kitty, have you ever thought of running away? Settling down, would you marry me? If I ask you twice and beg you pretty please. She'd have said yes in a New York minute. They never tied a knot, his heart wasn't in it. He just stole a kiss as he rode away. He never hung his hat up at Kitty's place. I should have been a cowboy, I should have learned to rope and ride, wearing my six-shooter, riding my pony on a cattle drive, stealing a young girl's hearts, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. Oh, I should have been a cowboy, I should have been a cowboy, I should have learned to rope and ride. I'd be wearing my six-shooter, riding my pony on a cattle drive, stealing a young girl's heart, just like Gene and Roy, singing those campfire songs. Oh, I should have been a cowboy. Yeah, I should have been a cowboy. I should have been a cowboy.
Well, I'm packing up my game and I'ma head out west. We're around a nest in the hills, chill like Flint. Then I'm a kid rocking up and down your block with a yacht with a flag saying chillin' the most. A toast to the sun, drink with the stars. Kid rockin', I'm the real McCoy, and I'm headed out west, sucker, because I wanna be a cowboy, baby.
With a top left back and the sunshine shining.
Cowboy, baby.
West Coast chillin' with the booms
I wanna be a cowboy, baby.
riding at night 'cause I sleep all day.
Cowboy, baby.
I can smell the pig from a mile away.
Be a cowboy, baby.
With a top left back and the sunshine shining.
Cowboy, baby.
West Coast chillin' with the booms
I wanna be a cowboy, baby.
riding at night 'cause I sleep all day.
Cowboy, baby.
I can smell the pig from a mile
the hills of KC, Wyoming, where life's woolly and wild, came a Navy brat and a cowboy hat and that Copenhagen smile. And from bucking broncs to honky-tonks, he always sang a cowboy song. We were much too young, having too much fun, as we all sang along. And we sang life's a highway, there's only one way you're gonna get through. When she starts to twist, be more like Chris, pull your hat down tight and just do it when that whistle blows and the crowd explodes and them pick up dinner at your side. They tell you good ride, cowboy, good ride. Take a ride. Well, go buckets to go records. Well, once again he was spinning round. Took the whole world on and he turned us on to that western underground. Bareback Jack to this cowboy's hat, the songs were stronger than his pain. He would not slow down from town to town like children running through the rain. And we sang life's a highway, there's only one way you're gonna get through it. But when she starts to twist, be more like Chris, pull your hat down tight and just do it when that whistle blows and that crowd explodes and then pick up dinner at your side. They tell you good ride, cowboy, good ride. We sang life's a highway, there's only one way you're gonna get through it. Yeah, when she starts to twist, be more like Chris, put your hat down tight. Let me have it. And them pick up dinner at your side. They tell you good ride, cowboy, good ride. They cross that river Jordan with St. Peter on the other side. Singing good ride, cowboy, good ride. Say good
in the saddle, give it one more try. Sweat and blood, it takes all you got. 'Cause the road to heaven is a hell of a ride. Tough get going when the going gets rough, 'cause they know they got a cowboy up. And cowboy up, dust yourself off. Get back in the saddle, give it one more try. Sweat and blood, it takes all you got. 'Cause the road to heaven is a hell of a ride. The tough get going when the going gets rough, 'cause they know they got to. Cowboy up, dust yourself off. Get back in the saddle, give it one more try. Sweat and blood, it takes all you got.
I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying, ayo, gotta let go. I wanna celebrate and live my life, saying, ayo, baby, let's go. I came to dance, 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 dance. I hit the floor 'cause that's my plans, 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 plans. I'm wearing all my favorite brands, 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 brands. Give me some space for both my hands, 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 hands. Yeah, yeah, 'cause it goes on and on and on. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying, ayo, gotta let go. I wanna celebrate and live my life, saying, ayo, baby, let's go. 'Cause we gon' rock this club, we gon' go all night, we gon' light it up came to move, 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 move. Get out the way of me and my crew. I'm in the club, so I'm gonna do just what you came here to do. Yep, 'cause it goes on and on and on. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying, ayo, gotta let go. I wanna celebrate and live my life, saying, ayo, baby, let's go. 'Cause we gon' rock this club, we gon' go all night, we gon' light it up like it's dynamite. 'Cause I
That's right. Does that get you excited about the future? Robert Allen just tweeted me, and I gave you that stat a little bit ago about Whedon, Blackman, Adcock, and Blatnick add up to 5 stars. We said Zach Robinson, a 3-star, Spud, Kendall Hunter, a 3-star. So keep that in mind. I trust our coaches and their ability to evaluate, Rob Glass's ability to make them stronger in the weight room and all of those things, and then our coaches' ability to coach them up. So once again, I think these guys have worked so hard. Let's give all of our coaches back here in this back corner a big show of appreciation. Thank you, guys. Just a couple of quick housekeeping things that I need to tell you. We are about to start the official Mike Gundy signing day press conference, so we need to keep it to media questions at this point. And we need to also, some of these guys have to leave a little bit early as well, so we want to make sure they get their questions in. You guys who all know what you're doing, Kevin wanted me to remind you, raise your hand, wait for the microphone to get there so that we can hear your questions as well. So with that, we just came off our first ever 12-1 season. Was that any fun? Fiesta Bowl championship, Big 12 championship. So let's give it up for the Bear Bryant and Eddie Robinson National Coach of the Year, your head coach, Mike Gundy.
Thank you. If I'd have known there's going to be this many people, I'd have dressed up. I had jeans and boots on. I had to go out to my property early this morning. I couldn't wear dress clothes, and so I knew we had the luncheon today, and I thought I'd be okay, but I apologize for that. But it's a great day. I know I heard Larry, and then obviously some of the comments that were going on out here, and each year I've continued to say that I thought that we were able to fill spots in our recruiting class to continue to develop our program and get better. And this was the most difficult year that I've had, or we've had as a staff since I've been around Oklahoma State football, of trying to find a way to fit more players and more student athletes that could continue with what we've started here at Oklahoma State than spots that we've had. And I heard somebody mention about the stars, the 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. I don't know that we've ever signed a 5-star here. I can't remember for sure. Don't know if we've had that many 4-star guys. The guys that deserve the credit, and I mentioned this earlier today on some of the phone interviews with the radio, is our recruiting staff, our recruiting office, the girls that work in our office, Smitty, Coach Barr, Coach Yielding, Coach Butler, all those guys that work at full time, and our assistant coaches. This is the best recruiting staff that we've had here since I've been here as an assistant coach or as a head coach, by far. They do an unbelievable job of evaluating. Recruiting is persistence. At some point it's not accepting no, to continue to push forward and do it in the right way, in a classy way, where in the end, if you do miss, you can go back in that school next year. And so these guys have done a great job. Recruiting has changed over the years. In January, the head coach used to go in and be involved in a home visit and try to sway a player from going to one school or the other. And I was in on maybe 2 of those this year. In the past, you'd be in on 15 or 20. The majority of our recruiting is complete. Maybe 75% of it's complete now by the time we start the season. And then when the contact period starts after our bowl games, when our coaches go out, the head coach goes out, 95% of our class is completed. So that is done by our assistant coaches, who do a great job out there of evaluating not only them as an athlete, but as a person. Our pool has grown and gotten much larger over the last few years, and even this year, more so than ever, with the success that we've had on the field and in the classroom, and the continuity with our staff and our players. And I've always said that our current team, the players that are on our team now, are by far our best recruiters. Because when young men come to our campus, our players tell them, you should come to school at Oklahoma State. It's not that way everywhere else in the country. We've had young men visit that would say, or we would say in a sit-down meeting with them and their family, what about certain schools? And it never ceases to amaze me that some of them will say, well, I was thinking about going there, but the players told me not to come there. That's a problem, small problem. And I can't imagine being an assistant coach and putting 18 months into a young man, and then the players get him on campus and say, I wouldn't come here if I were you. So we feel like our players are our best recruiters. They're happy at Oklahoma State. They trust and have relationships with our coaches. They believe in our system. They're having success in the classroom, and they're having success on the football field. So for that reason, we were able to come up with a great class. We still have a scholarship that's out there. We lost one a day or two ago. I can't remember. All my days are running together now. We lost one, so we do have a scholarship left. That there are a couple guys out there, but other than that, our class is complete. And this is a tremendous class. It's the highest rated academic class that we brought in. We believe that college football each year is moving toward smarter football players and guys that have football intelligence and know how to handle themselves, take care of their business, both on and off the field, which creates less distractions for our football team. You have 130 players on your team, and our goal is to get them all moving in the same direction. And a player who has a great talent level that's a distraction to the team can bring you down much quicker than getting guys that are maximizing their talent level, even though it may not be a potential NFL talent. And so by bringing in a quality class like this, we feel like that these young men have some substance in their background. They've had some character, some values instilled in them. They understand the big picture. And we don't hesitate at Oklahoma State in home visits. We don't hesitate in office visits with young men that are coming to our program. For example, the 2013 guys for next year who have already been in our office, have already sat in my office. The ones that we'll pursue this spring, try to get them on our campus. We don't hesitate to tell them up front that if they don't want to get an education, they don't want to go to class, and they don't want to buy into a team concept, they shouldn't come to school here. And so there are some that, believe it or not, may not say it up front, but they'll go on their ways after they visit with us because it won't work for them if they don't want to buy into what we're trying to accomplish here. Our coaching staff is convinced that the character and the continuity of our organization is the reason that we're winning and having success. And that gives us the ability to replace quality young men that have come through our program and been what we would think great players here who are graduated and moving on out there in the real world, whether in the professional field or in the NFL. Those guys and what we've created here will allow other players to come in and replace guys that we get asked about all the time. Blackman, Whedon, Blatnick, Markel Martin, Levy, so on and so forth, Josh Coopers of the world. And how do you replace them? Well, it's difficult to replace those guys because of what we've put into them and what they put into us. I was down on the strip last night. My boys wanted to grab something to eat. We ran down to get something to eat, and Josh Cooper's riding his bike down the strip. And so I was able to grab him and talk to him. And I thought you were trying out for the NFL. Looks like to me you're trying to get in the Tour de France. But he laughed, and we visited there a little bit. And it was a difficult moment for me because we've relied on him so much over the years on third down, and now he won't be there. And so somebody else has to take his spot. But it was funny, I'd mentioned to him that when he came in as a true freshman, he had some issues in 2 days. He was going to redshirt and figured what the heck, and went out down here on the strip and after curfew. And he came in and the next morning, and I said, I had already known he wasn't here. Josh knows I've told this story, and Josh I let him babysit my kids for the weekend, and his mom and dad are great friends of ours. And I said, hey, Josh, did you sleep good last night? And he said, yeah, Coach. Why? And I said, well, I just wondered. And I said, just make sure you're ready to go and practice and all that today. Make sure you're rested up. And I said, who checked curfew? And he threw out the coach's name as check curfew. I said, well, okay. I said, if there's something you need to tell me, then just let me know before practice. And he walked out of my office. About a minute later, he came in. He said, Coach, I was out after curfew. I said, I know you were because you got ticketed. And they called me. So I said, they called me before you even made it to the house. So anyway, we put him on the Stairmaster for about 2 or 3 days out there in full pads during practice. And he climbed the Stairmaster twice a day for 2.5 hours a day in the heat and in the sunshine. And I said, you know, everything in your career started on this strip, and now you're finished, and I see you riding a bike on the strip. But it's kids like that and the relationships that we've developed that make it really special. And that's what we're looking forward to in this class. Just a quick rundown. We've got 4 young men that are already here. Calvin Barnett is a defensive tackle from Navarro that was at Booker T that we tried to get a couple years ago that we lost on signing day. And we continue to recruit him, let things fall by the wayside and didn't take it personal and worked hard at it, and we were able to get him in this signing class. He's already on campus now. We gave him some extra stadiums after he showed up because the recruiting was over then, and we owed him because he bolted on us on signing day 2 years ago. But we're looking forward to him helping us down inside. Blake Jackson's a tight end from Scottsdale Community College. It's kind of ironic that our training facilities for the Fiesta Bowl was where he went to school. And he's a 6'4", 230-pound inside receiver, tight end who can do both. He ought to be able to put his hand on the ground and block, and then he ought to be able to split out and catch the ball a lot like what Brandon Pettigrew did for us. And Blake is tested out very well. He was 4'6", 8" or something in the 40 and already benching over 300 pounds and really catches the ball. And he's got good movement in the open field, so we're excited about him. Wes Lunt's already here. We've talked about Wes a little bit. He's the quarterback from Illinois that Coach Monken had a relationship with. The people up there, we were able to get in on him, and he's shown up. Seemed like he's acclimating himself really well to our team. He measured out really good, 6'4"-ish, 205. He ran good. His 10-yard movement drills were good. He's bench press is good. Arm span, arm strength, all those things really good. So we're excited about what he brings to the table. And then Jeremiah Tishamanga, a linebacker from in the Dallas area in North Richland Hills, may have been the most impressive guy that we've had come in from a measurement standpoint. He came in at 232 pounds. He verticaled 38 inches. Which is rolling up there pretty good for a guy 230-something pounds, bench press 325 pounds already, and he should just be in the spring of his high school year. So it gives you an example of the type of players that we're bringing in here. We're very excited about what those guys bring to the table. We had a nice class of Oklahoma guys this year. I've said this many times in the last couple of years that Oklahoma players have been great for us. I think that we're finding that they're not only here at Oklahoma State, but in our league. Guys that are coming out of Oklahoma are doing very well. Some of the big name players that we've had on our team that have produced for us and helped us win all these games the last few years are from Oklahoma. So we're able to pick up 3 guys from Oklahoma. The player of the year from the state of Oklahoma, Kevin Peterson from Wagner, is a defensive back corner, kick returner for us. It was kind of unique how the situation happened. We originally weren't going to take a guy at that position. We only get 85 scholarships. We have to break them down numbers-wise by certain positions to make everything work. Sometimes we don't have a position. But then we have guys on our board that are rated so high that if you get a spot at any time, you need to go after them and take them because they give you an opportunity to win games, and you got to find a way to make the numbers work at a later date. A good example of that is you see an NFL team in the draft maybe take a running back on the 3rd pick, and they didn't need a running back, but that running back's rated so high that they couldn't pass the guy up. And so that's where we felt we had with Kevin. He brings a lot to the table. So we're excited about him being a part of our team. We have a running back from Medill, Moncrief, and a running back is another position that we weren't sure if we were going to take one or not. And so the way the numbers kind of fell late, we ended up with a spot there that we thought he fit what we needed in our offense, and we liked him all along. And Coach Singleton had stayed in touch with him from start to finish, and then we decided that he was a guy that we thought fit in this class the way the numbers worked out. So he's a really good take for us. We like what he brings to the table. Then Zach Veach is a defensive end tight end from Broken Arrow that is a throwback to the old days. The biggest issue we'll have in our staff room is the offensive and defensive coaches debating on who gets to have him on their side of the ball, because he loves to play football. He can play tight end. He can play defensive end. We really like him. We feel like he's a sleeper over there. Comes from a good program, finished second in the state this year, so we're really excited about him. Then we were able to sign, I think it was 11, 12, 13 guys maybe from the state of Texas. You know, Texas has been good to us forever. It's a percentage game. There's numbers there. There's approximately 350 players a year down there that sign Division I. You know, so I use the term. I know at times our coaches don't like it, but you know, if you're going to sell vacuum cleaners and there's a bunch of people wanting to sell them, you got to go wherever you can sell them. There's a lot of people in the state of Texas that because of population that can play football at this level, and they're good students. They're well trained. They're well coached. So we go down there, and we've had a lot of luck offensively. You know, on the offensive line side, we picked up guys like Paul Lewis that comes out of North Shore. We've got a number of players from down there. They've been good to us. We picked up Michael Wilson from Aledo. That is really a guy that's got an unbelievable future. He's 6'6", 280 as a senior in high school. I really like the size and the height that we had in this class. We were able to pick up Chris Grisby from, well, he's from Blinn, but he's a guy that's got 3 years, and it gives us a lot of depth and maturity at that position. And then from a skill standpoint, from the state of Texas, we had Jawan Seals. We were able to pick up Blake Webb. Those are receivers that fit what we do here. You know, we try to evaluate receivers on outside and inside and then make it work. We're not always perfect in that area. Some guys we think maybe inside end up being outside and vice versa. So those guys gave us a lot from a skill standpoint. Dominique Ramaker is an athlete from J.W. Walsh's school in the Denton area. Could be a fullback, could be an H-back, could be, you know, maybe grow into a tight end, but comes in very highly regarded from an effort standpoint. So we're really excited about what he brings to the table. At the wideout spot, we brought in C.J. Curry, who's not from Texas. Obviously, he's from Georgia. He's been on our list for a while. Was originally committed to another school, but we were able to get him and hold on to him. A 6'2". I think the other day when he was here, he's about 190 pounds. He can really run. Got a great future. We were able to pick up Brandon Shepard from St. Louis, Missouri. He's another 6 foot, 185, 190 pound. A guy that's going to eventually be a 190 pound receiver. He's got great skill, can make a play in space, can do a lot for us. Blake Webb, which I talked about him earlier, what we feel like is more of an inside receiver guy that will be able to read coverages, adjust, set in the right spot versus zone coverage, and make plays. On the defensive side of the ball, defensive ends were big for us this year, and we were able to hit on some guys that had some height. Jamie Blatnick and Rashedi Jones have been tremendous for us, but they float around that 6'2" height. These guys that we have here are 6'3" or 6'4", and so they're going to end up being 6'4" or 6'5". They'll grow half an inch to an inch during their career here. So I really like the height that we get from Eric Davis and from Emmanuel Ogba and the other young man, I'm looking for his name, Victor Orontski. It's hard for me to pronounce his last name, but those guys give us good height. They're 230-ish, 235, so by the time they've been in Coach Glass's weight program, they'll be 260, 265, so I'm really excited about those guys. I missed Greg Brantley, the offensive lineman from Carthage, who's a giant. You know, he's at 6'6", 320 when he was here the other day. We'll get him in shape and slim him down a little bit. He'll probably end up being 6'6" and a half, and put muscle on, take some of the baby fat off, and probably play at 3 1/4. So one other DB, Ashton Lampkin from the Arlington area, is going to play safety for us. He's 5'11", 185 now. Kind of a Markel Martin type of player. Same kind of body structure. Should end up being over 6 foot. Should end up being probably 205 pounds by the time that he's in our system for a year or two. So we're really excited about those guys. I think I've covered everybody. If anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask them. Couldn't have been that thorough, Barry.
Yeah, Mike, you lost Joe a couple weeks ago. Been a great recruiter for you. You got 3 guys from Houston, it looks to me like on this list. How did the recruiting in the wake of his departure go? Did you lose anybody? Was it tough, or did it go smooth?
Well, it's never smooth when you lose a coach, and I mentioned earlier on a radio show today, I get asked the question each year why it takes me so long to fill the guy that leaves a vacancy on our staff, and there's 2 reasons for it, and it kind of contributes to the question. Is one, during from about the 10th or 12th of January up until today, the assistant coaches on our staff had me going all over the country. And I'm in a car, I'm in an airplane, I'm in a home, I'm on the phone. So I don't really have time to think about hiring a football coach, and I don't think I could do a good job of it, because it's the most important thing we do other than recruit quality people in this program is to have quality coaches in here that'll lead them and develop them over a 4-year period. So I'm not good at focusing on that and taking those calls versus recruiting. And the second thing is some of the candidates or people that we may interview for this job are also coaching at other schools and trying to recruit for their head coach. And so out of respect for them, I would like for them to be able to finish their job and give them the best opportunity to have the class that they need at that particular school. So it's never smooth when you lose a guy like Joe. Joe has been tremendous for us over a long period of time. But we were able to patch it up. Again, we divided some guys on this list up by position, and we were able to cover some ground. You never really know the truth in recruiting a lot of times, whether you may have lost a guy or you're able to hold on to some based on coaching changes. But certainly we'll miss Joe. He's been great for us and wish him the best.
Mike, when you were making your final visits through the last couple of weeks and the coaches making the last couple of visits, did you find that the kids were accepting your scholarship offers because of your success over the last year, 2 years, or were they still curious about their position and need, or was it the success that maybe turned the tide?
Well, I think the success that we've had that I mentioned earlier would probably play a greater role in the decisions that the young men make based on where they fit into our program. And each one of them is different. Some of them the decision is made solely by the young man. Some of them, a family member, a mother, a father, or parents, or a coach could be involved in it. And what's ironic over the years is none of them are the same. But I would say that the success that we've had and being ranked as high as we were throughout the season and playing on TV as much, and then being in the BCS game where we were kind of the only show on, gave us instant respect in a lot of schools. When we were in there recruiting after the bowl game, we walked in and they saw this logo, or they saw Pistol Pete. Over a period of 10 years ago, maybe people didn't really know who you were. But I noticed this year, I've seen a little bit of it the last couple of years, but I noticed this year people recognized who we were, and we had instant respect when we walked in those offices.
Mike, now that you've been around him for 3 weeks, hello, Mike. Now that you've been around West Lunt for 3 weeks, do you think, and I know 3 weeks isn't much time, but do you think he can make a legitimate bid to be your starting quarterback?
Was that Robert Allen's phone? He's usually the guy's phone that goes off in this meeting. Oh, all right. I missed you back there. Bill, I haven't been around him. I've seen him one time since he's been here. I have not been here. He helped us on a recruiting weekend, and I saw him, and other than that, I have not seen him. But that question was asked earlier in the day on a radio interview, and my answer would be that we wouldn't have brought him in here if we didn't think that he couldn't be the starting quarterback here. And the same thing with J.W. Walsh, and the same thing with Chelf. So those 3 guys will get equal opportunity to be the starting quarterback on our team next year.
Coach, usually you'll have a recruit commit to Oklahoma State, and then you'll see the rival school OU come in, offer, they'll switch. Most notably, Ryan Broyles probably would be one of the most notable ones. But This year you had Kevin Peterson at Wagner. He committed to OU. They had a coaching change. You guys offered, and he switched and committed to Oklahoma State. Can you talk about the changing of perception, maybe catching up with the rival after being so far behind in so many years in recruiting?
Well, I think there's some truth to the respect that I mentioned earlier, and there's more respect in the state of Oklahoma, in other states that we spend a lot of time in, and so it's something that you have to earn. And recruiting is about being persistent and upfront and honest and spending time, but these young men want to be in a program where they have a chance to win it all. They want to know that they get a chance to play on TV. And I'm taking the football side of it, not the academic side of it. Okay, the academic side of it is what I talked about earlier. But from a football standpoint, they want to be in the action. Okay, when they go home at night after they've played in their game, they want to see their team and themselves on the ESPN highlights, Fox highlights. And so, because of the success we've had, it's made a huge difference in the way people see us in recruiting once you get into the last couple weeks of it, where in most cases, a situation between two schools can happen of change. That's when it happens, is in the last couple weeks of recruiting.
Mike, you had a significant senior class. Does that create opportunities maybe for more or any of these guys to maybe jump in and compete right away, and who might that be?
Well, I think so. Obviously, Calvin Barnett's a guy that we need to get on the field in the first game. Most of our skill players, and we say this in recruiting, and you guys have watched us, we play our freshman running backs, we play our freshman receivers. So the receivers and running backs that we have, they'll all have an opportunity. And it never fails. If I were to try to pin down names, it would make me look bad, because I'm usually less than 50% on that. Because you don't know how a young man's going to adjust to the college lifestyle, being away from his family, being away from a girlfriend. He has to stay healthy during fall camp in order to give himself an opportunity. So Blake Jackson and Calvin Barnett are guys that we plan on playing in the first game, because they're guys that are two-year guys. The other ones, they'll all have an opportunity. Some of your linemen, maybe not as much of a chance because they have to go through a development stage, but our skill players will have that chance.
With Blake Jackson is pretty established as a receiving tight end, and the tight ends weren't used much here the last 2 years. Does that signal, that would suggest anyway that you and Todd are really going to tweak the offense during spring practice. You don't bring Blake Jackson in here to block. He'll do some of that, but he's a receiver.
Right. Well, there's a great debate between Wickline and Munkin on whether we bring tight ends in to block or not. But what you're saying is right, Bill, is that we think that, and I'm really, really tentative to use the term or the comparison with pedigree, because you're talking about a first-round pick. A guy's really, really special. But Blake shows us some of those skills, the ability to make a play in space, but also after he gets developed in the weight room. See, I see him as a guy that's going to be 12 to 15 pounds heavier by August because of what our system will provide for him. The nutrition training, what he eats, and the development in the weight room. And so if he pushes it up to what would be 250-ish, 245, he should give us that. And we need to improve and get better and expand our offense within limitations on short yardage and goal line. We all know that. How much we do that without tarnishing what we're able to do with our system now, those decisions have to be made. But the offensive staff understands that, and we feel like Blake gives us that allows us to be more versatile in those areas.
Coach, Jesse Vester from right here in Stillwater is one of 2 recruits on this listed as an athlete. What did you and your staff kind of envision for him, and maybe what strides does he need to make to be active in your program?
Well, we like Jesse because he was here at just about every camp we had, being local. And on game day at Stillwater, he made a ton of plays. He always showed up in special teams, showed up on offense. He'd show up on defense over his career. And when he was on our camp, he performed at a high level. And we feel like that he's going to bring something to the table, and at what position we don't know yet. He's obviously a wide receiver type. He could be in our return game. and he's going to be big enough and thick enough at some point to maybe play on the other side of the ball. But he's a skilled athlete, and that's why he's listed that way, because we're not really sure where he'll fit in until he gets here.
Yeah, Mike, considering you signed Jeremiah Tishamonga, have you been in contact with Nike about changing the font size on the name to the back of your jersey?
Good call. And and you guys, you can tell I'm a little tentative about the pronunciation of these names, because it's a little scary. You were good with that one, but yeah, his font size will have to be smaller, no question.
In all seriousness, had a great season, went to the Fiesta Bowl, great facilities, but you also got some mileage during the year out of the uniforms. And people, a lot of talk about kids that attracts kids. Did you see any tangible evidence that the uniforms actually helped you out in recruiting?
Sadly enough, yes. And truthful, recruiting is very entertaining. As a coach, you go in and you get everything lined up, and we talk. Just myself, I may talk 45 minutes in a home and never even mention football, because to me, their development, what they're doing 10 years from now, who they are, their education, all those things, I'm going to be held responsible for more so than anything else. And so you can have a speech ready, and you got to lay everything out, give yourself the best shot when you go in there, and you can go in a home, Barry, and fire it out for about 15 minutes. And you'd be surprised that you could get stopped by a parent and say, "Hey, are y'all changing your uniforms any next year, or are you going with what you had this year?" I mean, it gets brought up not only by the players but by the parents, and so there's no question that it's very attractive. We spent some time in California, I don't know, a week or 10 days ago, and there's a couple, 3 players that we were going after out there. And it was a huge hit out there with those guys. They're fired up about the different uniforms that we wear.
Mike, at least 6 receiver types in this class. That's more than 25%. Is that just kind of where we are in this day and age in this offense?
Guys that can catch the ball, or at times maybe even line up in the backfield and carry the ball in the future. And so we have our theory on the way that the game's going on offense for us, and for how it gives us the best chance to move the ball and score points. And it's skill players that can touch the football and make somebody miss and do things that are unconventional. And so is it a big number? Yes, it's a big number, but the style of play that we offer now is created for guys that can make a play in space. And we want to get 85 to 90 plays a game, and if we're going to do that, we have to have a lot of guys to roll in. Otherwise, fatigue becomes a factor with our skill positions. If fatigue's a factor with us, then we might as well slow down. So we would prefer to have a number of skill guys that can continue to stay fresh throughout the game, which should allow for fatigue to set in on the defense in the second half of the third and what would be the fourth quarter.
Mike, Joe DeForest coordinated your special teams, you coached your safeties, and you recruited Houston for you. Mm-hmm. Which of those considerations is most prominent in your mind when you go out to look for a guy to fill that vacancy?
Well, there's 2 things that are important, and our defensive staff has had discussions, and we'll have more discussions on really what we're looking for, but we want to hire quality people who are good leaders, who can develop our young men while they're here, and then they have to go out and bring better ones in. And so there's really, you can't sway it one way or the other. Not sure yet what we're going to do on special teams, and I think maybe you were kind of heading that direction. We'll make that decision based on who we feel like is the best person to fill that job. If they're strong in special teams, then we could give it to them. If it's something that they've had a background in but not had them all, then we could divide it up amongst our staff. So it's going to be based on who we think's best to fill that spot.
So I've been hearing for a couple of weeks that you yourself might oversee the special teams. Is that a legitimate possibility?
Are you crazy? I mean, I had enough of it as an offensive coordinator. All I need to know is somebody get on me about punt block. And I didn't mean that facetiously, Bill, but no, I'm not smart enough to oversee special teams. But that hadn't crossed my mind.
Mike, Alabama and LSU went to the championship game basically because of their defense. Is it, with the times that we're talking about now, is it really tough to recruit really good defenses, and offenses are more exciting to the fan base? So is there a way to get better on defense?
Well, I think we're going to be better on defense. I think we were better this year. I think we'll be better next year. I think with the young players we have on our football team on defense, we'll continue to get better each year. And one thing's true now. If you just look at the bowl games that our league played against other teams from other leagues, they had a hard time stopping our guys from this league also. And so that debate can go on forever in the SEC's defense and the Big 12's offense, because we had a chance to figure that out and we failed to do that. So the debate continues. But there's no question that we need to improve statistically on defense. I don't think there's any question about that. Our coaches would tell you that. I'm sure we were better this year than we have been, and we'll be better next year. The only difference in recruiting in this part of the country compared to what would be the SEC is the availability of defensive linemen that you can get that are within a 4 to 6 hour drive. That's the difference in my opinion. I'm sure somebody may debate that, but in SEC country, there are more defensive linemen prototypes that are within a 4 hour drive of those schools throughout there than there are of schools in this league. And that's where the difference is. Now, are there ways to overcome that? You bet there are. But that's what's happened up to this point now, in my opinion. But I'm excited about the spring. I'm excited about the young players we have on defense, the guys that we have in our program that have redshirted or played just a little bit this year, to see them mature, because I think we'll be faster than we ever have been on defense in the future. And I'm excited about what's going to happen at the quarterback spot and the new guys that have to fill in the O-line. It's always been intriguing to me to see our coaches and the decisions they make to get our players ready to win a bunch of games next year. So, but from a defensive standpoint, it would be defensive linemen that you can get your hands on. It's different in this part of the country. Good? Yeah, anybody else can ask. Might as well while we're here.
Anybody out here in these sections have questions?
Coach, I know that we were extremely aggressive on defense against Oklahoma and put a lot of pressure on Andrew Luck in the bowl game. And I know that there's a risk involved in that, but it seemed to me that the players that we had, were able to take those risks and be successful. And I'm wondering, this group that we're going to have this coming year, would you anticipate that they're going to have the ability and the experience to play aggressively on defense?
Well, we certainly had success in the Oklahoma game and even in the bowl game. Stanford was able to score and move the ball because, he's a great player. And I noticed the other day, you guys probably keep up with more of this than I do, but I saw where their tackle, they're going to have an offensive tackle that's going to get picked maybe in the first round. And then they had a tight end that's ranked, he's rated the second best tight end in the draft, and then you had Luck in the back. So we got after him pretty good. I think going into that game that they'd only given up 6 sacks, and we hit him more than anybody that he had played against. But the answer is yes. I think your opportunities to be more aggressive are based on the speed of your defense. And we'll be faster next year than we've been since I've been the head coach here. And then these guys are freshmen and sophomores that can really run. And so for the next few years, I would anticipate our speed being much more than it's been in the past.
How are we doing on next year's schedule, and when will we find out who we're playing next year?
I don't know much about it. With what's going on with the league, I don't know that it's been released yet, or if it was in the last 3 weeks, I have not gotten any information. The last I heard was that TCU is going to take A&M's schedule and play it. And then West Virginia was going to take Missouri's schedule and play it, but I don't know how much of that's come through. You tell me not to say that? He's telling me not to say that. So I guess something's going on that I don't know about, which could very well be true. So we may not. Are they even in our league now, or have we changed?
Coach, over here. This way. Over here. Who do you see as our next Blackman or Dez, possibly?
Well, we've got a number of good players, and it's interesting you bring that up because that's one of the questions that I got hit with today on the radio was, and these guys here will know better. Before Blackman won the Biletnikoff that season, he had, was it 7 or 17 catches? He had 20. I was close. He had 20 catches, and nobody asked about him. Nobody knew about him. Next year, he won the Biletnikoff. And so there's somebody sitting out there. Now, we've got returning guys that have made a bunch of plays for us at the wide receiver spot. And then we have other young players that are developing right now. And so to predict that you've got a guy like that is hard to do. Two-time Biletnikoff winner and what would be, it's probably going to be the second player picked in the draft. But we have young players on offense, just like I had mentioned today on defense, that we're really excited about. They're just guys that are working hard and getting stronger and faster, and you never know which ones will make the adjustment to playing in the game, being tough enough, durable enough, and then making it important enough to them to do it year-round to give them a chance to be what would be a great player.
Coach, in years past, a lot was made about the fact that we didn't have an indoor practice facility and the impact that had on recruiting. Now that's in progress. Two-part question. One, what's timeline on that? And secondly, with this recruiting class, how much of an issue was that either in helping or hurting?
Well, facilities are always an issue. And I had mentioned the class of 2013, which is really what we're on right now. And I don't know that I've had a conversation with a young man that's called us or one of their coaches that eventually doesn't get toward facilities. So facilities are huge in recruiting. And I was told yesterday that that the steals should start to go up within this month. I don't know. Am I right, Kevin? Yeah. So the steals should start rising here this month, is what I was told yesterday. Good. Well, I want to take time to thank everybody. This has been a great turnout for us. And I've said this many times, that Oklahoma State is a special place. It always will be because of the people, because of those of you sitting out here. And our players, they feel it. The success that we had this year could not have been done without y'all. It's such a huge contributing group of people who have made this happen at Oklahoma State. And I think what everybody needs to realize is we had an unbelievable year, and I couldn't be more proud of our team. They gave us everything that we asked them. They provided us, they had no regrets. We asked them to do that at this time last year, no regrets. But ultimately, our goal is to win another championship and have an opportunity to play in the big game. And that's where our sights are set. So I want to thank our staff, the recruiting staff, the girls in our office, their staff, our assistant coaches, and everybody for doing an unbelievable job in recruiting. I want to congratulate all these guys, and you'll be proud of them. These are good kids. They're going to do the right thing. They're going to make some mistakes. You know, they're still males between the ages of 18 and 23, so there's susceptible to things at any given time. But for the most part, they're good kids that want to be here, and they wanted to play at Oklahoma State, and they wanted to get a degree from Oklahoma State. So thanks for coming out here today. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks, Coach Gundy, and congratulations on the signees. I did fail to mention we do have a couple of special guests here. The Big 12 Championship Trophy and the Fiesta Bowl Trophy. They've agreed to take pictures. They'll sign no autographs, so make your way back there. and enjoy that. They'll hang around as long as you guys would like to do that. So thank you all for coming out. Do have members of the posse here. Thank them. They helped put this together today. And ticket offices here, Adam Barnes and Micah Roberts back there. Adam sets the bar high. He said he set a goal of selling at least one season ticket here today. So help Adam out back there and just enjoy. Go Pokes. Thanks for being here.